Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you've come today to the ancient Guildhall of Lichfield to have a chat with the Sheriff of Lichfield. So, hello everybody, and you've come to speak to me today, ask me some questions as Sheriff of Lichfield for School Report Live. First question, please.
How did you become the Sheriff of Lichfield?
How do I become Sheriff of Lichfield? Well, usually one has to be a member of the City Council, but just occasionally they choose somebody whom they think has done a bit of good in Lichfield, and hopefully I have, to become Sheriff. So it's a great honour to become Sheriff of Lichfield for 1 year.
What do you do as Sheriff of Lichfield?
Well, I have to attend many functions. I have to be about the city, and hopefully everything I attend, I want to make it go a bit better, if possible. But I have one job in the year, which is very important to the Sheriff, because Lichfield wasn't, or isn't, just a city, it's also a county. From 1553, when Queen Mary gave a charter to Lichfield to make it a county, and the Sheriff has a job once a year to patrol the boundary of the old county of Lichfield, and to make sure that nobody's stolen a bit of it. And so there is a sheriff's ride which is on horseback, and if the sheriff can, the sheriff rides it, but in any way heads the procession of horses round the boundary to check that everything is still there. Once a year we do that.
When did you become Sheriff?
When? Well, that happens in May. And a sheriff is only sheriff nowadays for 1 year, from May till May.
How many sheriffs have there been in?
Oh, I can't tell you that, because like you, I'd run out of fingers. But if you look on a notice board up there, you'll see since 1874 there's been one every year. But I think before that, way back in 1553, I would guess in those days the sheriff was sheriff for more than 1 year. I would guess so. So there have been some hundreds.
What is the best part of being sheriff?
Oh, I think nowadays, meeting all the people of Lichfield at times, and seeing all the different things that go on in Lichfield, attending all the different events, and it is surprising what goes on in Lichfield. So many exciting things, and being part of those, I think it's great.
How have you changed Lichfield as sheriff?
How have I changed it? Oh, well, one thing I did try to do, and that was to restore the sheriff's ride to the way I knew it when I was on the City Council and I was mayor 30-something years ago. And I thought I'd like to see it back as it was. So I've had a go at doing that. Okay?
Do you like being sheriff, and if so, why?
Well, again, it's what I said a few moments ago. I go to different meetings, to different events, and I meet so many different people. It's very interesting indeed to see the life of Lichfield and how things have improved. There are so many things going on now that, when I was mayor 30-something years ago, weren't happening in Lichfield, and they're all happening now. So it's great to be part of all that. Right?
Where does your business as sheriff take place?
Where does it take place? Well, of course, when I'm made sheriff, I come into the Guildhall to be made sheriff. And then when the next sheriff comes along to be elected and made sheriff, I have to hand over my robes and my chain for the next sheriff. But apart from that, my business as sheriff takes place in all the meetings that happen over Lichfield. But way back in history, the business of the sheriff was in this Guildhall. And the sheriff's job in exercising the Queen's power in Lichfield was to supervise all executions, was to make sure that when people were put in the cells, they were secure in the cells and couldn't get out. And also, the last burning at the stake was in Lichfield. Now, I'm not quite old enough to have supervised that burning of the stake, but there's a plaque in the market square for Edmund Whiteman, who was the last person to be burnt at the stake in Lichfield for heresy. And the sheriff of the time had to see that it was done right.
What do you like about being sheriff?
Oh, I've just said all that. I said I like meeting all the people in Lichfield in their different societies and in their different... sometimes I go to the theatre and meet the youth theatre and young people. Sometimes it's the old folks like myself, and I like meeting all those people in the different events that happen.
What is the difference between mayor and sheriff?
Well, the mayor will supervise and chair the meetings of the city council. So his job is more a political office, and he has to keep the councillors in order in the council meeting. But the sheriff's job is a bit different. It's an honorary job now, and was originally to see that the law and order was kept. And also, when we had a judge who used to sit just here, the judge did, to hear all about the criminals, if you like. Well, when the judge sat here, he had to be looked after to make sure that nobody influenced him. That was the sheriff's job. The mayor's job is to chair the council meetings.
You've had both roles. Which one do you prefer?
Could you say that? Which do I prefer? Oh, well, at the moment I prefer sheriff. I suppose way back when I was mayor, I preferred mayor. But they are such different offices that I don't know which one I prefer. The one of the moment, sheriff today.
Who's better, the mayor or the sheriff?
Oh, I'm not going to have a fight with the mayor about who's better. We're quite different. And when we go to meetings, we complement each other, so we don't think that one is better than the other.
Does the role of sheriff make any changes in your life?
Well, I suppose it has. It must have done, because, yes, meeting new people, and I've met the Queen. Oh, maybe I've preempted another question there. And I've met some very important people and talked with them. So, yes, it's put a bit of spice into my life, put it that way.
Do you have to attend every event in Lichfield?
Not every event, because some of them take place at the same time. But today I attended a church service in the morning. Then I attended the opening of a business about half an hour ago. Then I rushed over here to robe up to speak to you. And tonight I shall be going to the chairman's dinner.
What made you choose your charity?
Ah, well, yes, I have a very, very good reason to be thankful to cancer charities, and so I chose Macmillan Cancer Support for my charity this year simply because of that, and for the way that they help a lot of people when they're in the greatest of trouble.
What area in your charity is the money going towards?
Well, it's going towards Macmillan Cancer, and we've raised now, I think, somewhere probably about £3,000 already for that. So I think that's a very good a good cause, don't you?
Can you tell us about the ancient court of Array, and do you still hold it these days?
Oh yes, the ancient court of Array. Now, that's held on a bank holiday Monday, and what happens is that in ancient times, every person who was fit to bear arms in Lichfield had to prove it. And so Lichfield was divided up into different wards. And each ward had a dozen, who a man, had to be a man, because he had to be fighting fit man, and the dozener had to make sure that every strong person in his ward was there able to bear arms and defend the city and defend the country for the king or the queen, the monarch. Right, the ward banners are here above you. Each ward has a banner. And then at the Court of Array, people would come along with their arms. They wouldn't have suits of armour because they weren't knights, but they would have some kind of protection, and they would have to show that those arms were in good working order and ready to fight with. Then, I don't know whether you know this, but not far out of Lichfield is a place called Short Butts Lane. And at the butts, those people who had to bear arms had to go along every Sunday with their bows and arrows and shoot at targets to prove that they were good marksmen and able to fight for the monarch. And if they didn't go, they were fined. I think it used to be a halfpenny in the times of Queen Mary when the sheriff was appointed, but it might have been a penny or even twopence later, and that was a lot of money in those days. So, back to the Court of Array, they come in, each dozener brings in the people from that ward or that ward, and they assemble and show that they've got their arms all ready to fight for their country.
What happens after your time is up as sheriff?
Oh, then I go into obscurity. Right? And the next sheriff takes over. Yes?
What will you do after being sheriff?
What will I do? I'll carry on my normal daily job, but I will, of course, be invited to turn out for parades to the cathedral, to the churches, and the other parades that take place every year, and I will support the new sheriff.
Who is the most famous person you have saw in sheriff?
Oh, that is the Queen. It has to be, doesn't it? And then, I think it was only about a week ago that the Duke of Gloucester came to the cathedral too. And that was good. And the Lord Lieutenant. And then, have you heard of Frank Skinner? No? A comedian on television? Well, Frank Skinner came along, and he was the president of the Johnson Society, and he came and gave a very amusing speech, so I met him as well. Next one.
Will the Guildhall ever be reopened to the public, and if it is, will it be reopened to the public or mayors or the community?
The Guildhall is always open to the public. Yes, you can come in if the doors are open. You can come in and have a look round. You can have a look and see who were the past mayors and who were the past sheriffs. You can look at some of the history there, some of the plaques on the wall, and you can have a look as you're having a look today.
What would you do if you lost the keys to the Guildhall?
Oh, they don't let me have the keys to the Guildhall. They have somebody to open the Guildhall to let me in. They make sure I can't lose them.
Thank you for being a good interviewer.
Thank you for interviewing me. I am very pleased that you'll be on School Report Live, won't you?